24 and this is 131 woodworking. Today, take a pile of cedar, fence post, turn that into grill caddies or decorative trays. So stay tuned, see how we do it. So just like with every project we start with the miter saw, you do want to be pretty selective. The length that we're going to cut, this one here has got a little rod on the end, so we'll cut that out, join it up, cut it to final width. We'll probably plane them once to get them close to the right thickness, glued up into a panel, and then plane it down to final thickness. Then I'll be able to start on the handle. So first, cut it to rough length. I chose 17 as my rough length. I think it'll probably be about 16 and a half when I'm all done. So let's get to mitering. So I'm just gonna cut my first one to 17 and then reference the rest of them right off of that. Someday I'll build a miter saw station where I'll have stop blocks and I won't have to use this janky setup. So cut. So I got my joiner, my planer out, pile of wood. A couple of weeks ago I figured out the snap thing really works. The drop thing we figured out earlier works. So I don't know, let's try the clap thing. Yeah, clap thing works too. So in all seriousness, this was, I don't know, hours worth of work running through the joiner and the planer. If you're buying dimensional lumber, this step would not be necessary. In fact, I would, if I batch out some more like this, I would definitely do it that way. For individuals, it's fine. You get pretty good some patina on some of that wood. So now we need to work on our bottom panels so I can get those in glue up, and then we'll start with the handle assembly. So table saw, I chose arbitrarily 2-inch strips just because that was easy enough for me. So yeah, here we go. So now I got them down to equal thickness. Time to rip them to equal width. We're gonna take it over to table saw. It's just normal table saw cut, and I'm gonna cut to 2 inches. For my particular decorative trays, we are going to cut a bunch of them at 3 inches as well. So just, I'll keep those separated so I don't get in a hurry and cut everything to 2. So I'll be back after I cut these all done. All right, so now that we got everything cut up to size, we're gonna go ahead and start working on the handles. We're gonna go through 2 methods. First method's gonna involve jigsaw, Forstner bit, and a lot of sanding. The second method's gonna involve a template and a router table. So let's make some handles. Okay, so first thing you wanna do is find the center of your board. My board is 11 1/8, so half of that is 5 9/16. So I'll go ahead and mark that out. So center of the board. Next thing, you want to figure out how thick you want the top of your handle. For mine, it's going to be 3/4 of an inch. That's what I like to go with. And just connect the lines. So that's what you're left with. Everything else is based off this center point of the top of our handle. So from this line, I'm going to mark, I want my handle 4 inches long. I'm using a 1-inch Forstner bit because that's all I got. So I come off the line. I'm gonna mark just any number of work. I'm gonna go with 2. I'll mark 4 inches here. The other side, add 2 to 5, and that is 7. Edges of the hole, come back down, mark 3/4 of an inch. So now we find the center of our handle mark out. 1 inch Forstner, half of that is 1/2 inch. So come off our top line, make it easy on yourself. Line up a whole number, go 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. So that is our center line for our handle. Mark that. So looks like a square with a bunch of lines. It'll make more sense here in a minute. So again, we're using a 1 inch Forstner bit, be a 1 inch hole. We'll come in off our index lines, our edges a 1/2 inch. So now we need to know where to put our drill bits. So we come in off the edge of our hole, 1/2 inch on each side. And I'll probably put a third one in there somewhere. And then what I'll do, there's the edge of my hole. Edge. So I'll come in here. Circle those. Take my awl. Get started. So that's where you can put the tip of your Forstner bit, drill into those. I think, so next I'll go ahead and lay out the profile of the rounded piece to my handle. So I'll just take my side piece. Mark it. Try that again. Take your side piece, mark the top of it. So next thing I'll do is I'll weigh out the profile for the handle. Just get the thickness of your side piece. Just take your speed square, set it up there, line up the edge. Now you want to go off the bottom. I marked mine as top. If you go off the top, it'll be all out of whack. So mark that. Mark this side. Extend those lines a little bit. So, now for the swooping, I'm going to take my precision swooping guide tool or a half-used piece of tape. I'm going to line it right at the top edge of the outside of my handle and just make a line. Same thing over here. Top edge. Come on. So that's what you're left with. Now it's just time to start cutting. So I'm just taking a hand drill with a Forstner bit. It's a 1-inch Forstner bit. I've got a sacrificial piece of wood clamped to my table, two handle pieces taped together, lines marked out. I'm just going to start drilling some holes. The blue tape on the back of the there you got it, 3 holes. So now I'm just going to take a jigsaw, connect the lines. That's the purpose of the board, is not to drill into your table. The blue tape seemed to work. I don't have a lot of flow out here. You can see I got some there, some there. It's going to get. Now we're just taking a jigsaw, cut up right against that reference line right here. Go all the way through. This is just a Black & Decker I've had for I don't know how long. It doesn't have some of the new ones have a light on them. Mine does not, so it's hard to see my line. So just grab your little flashlight, and here we go. First part of the handle done. I'm going to take some tape up the center, and start working on the rounded profile. Where your CA glue would really come in handy. You would have to do all this, but whatever. It is what it is. Maybe if you take the back before you take the sides. Just painter's tape, so it's not a huge ordeal. So, let's make this line a little bit darker. So now we're going to cut our profile. So now we're going to cut our profile out here. You want to stay on the outside of the line, and I'll clean this up on a sander once I'm done. Where is it? Okay, so what we're left with, it's a pretty rough cut. So now what we're going to do is we're take this thing to the sander and finish sanding to our line. I'm just going to work it. I'm going to use the edge of my belt sander here to kind of clean up this profile and make it a little bit nicer. So. simple handle. We will go ahead and get those things mounted up. So the second method to making these handles, and it's a good idea if you're going to make quite a few of them, is just to make you a jig that you can run through your router and copy it. So it starts out just like the jigsaw method and the sanders. Take my jigsaw and cut close to the line, and then we're just gonna glue those up, and then take a flush trim bit through your router and cut away. So let's get this glued up, and then we'll jump over the router. So once your glue dries up, this is what you're left with. You're glued to your template. If you had a templing bit, it'd be better. Mine's a flush trim bit, so I gotta put my template up, and then the bearing's gonna ride against your template, and then just copy it. So let's hope this doesn't explode. And there it is, handle. So now we just got to make the cutout for the center. You can use your Forstner bit, jigsaw, you can use router table again, set some stop blocks, and cut away. So just change out the router bit and get going. Okay, for this part, I got a couple stop blocks set up that's going to stop at my edges of my handle hole. We're just going to make a series of very light passes till we get all the way through this. There it is. Simple, clean, just a little fine sanding, hand sanding, and it'll assemble another one. So I'm just pre-setting up my glue up here. It's going to be a little bit interesting because I'm trying not to use fasteners on this. There's no pin nails, no screws, anything like that. So I don't have clamps long enough, so I'll have to kind of double them up. I'm using this box clamping thing. Never actually used it, so we'll kind of see how it's going to work. We're just going to put some glue in the corners around the edge, clamp it up, let it set up. So let the glue dry for a few hours, pulled it out, threw some beeswax on it, did a little final sanding around the edges, and this is the end result. So this has been another scrap wood project from 131 Woodworking. Thanks for watching.